December 4th. 1137. Lothair II, Emperor of Germany, died. He was King of Saxony when he was made King of Germany, and finally invested with the title of Emperor. 1139. Roger, Prior of Hexham, died. Author of a history of the campaign of the Scottish army under King David. 1214. William the Lion, of Scotland, died. He confederated with Henry of England against his father, and his inconsiderate valor at the siege of Alnwick, as well as many other rajaks, brought misfortunes on himself and disgrace upon his people. 1334. John the 22nd James Dius, Pope, died. He rose under the patronage of Charles II, of Naples. He attempted the suppression of the Cordeliers, was an active pontiff, and respected for his frugality, prudence and sanctity. 1402. Charles VI granted letters patent to the priests to enact mysteries, or as they came to be called moralities, such as the conception of the Savior, etc. 1642. John Armand Duplessis de Richelieu, a celebrated French cardinal and statesman, died. He was a man of great capacity and boundless ambition, whose ministry forms an era in the French government, and prepared the way for the power and grandeur of the reign of Louis XIV. 1649. William Drummond, a Scottish poet and historian, died. He preceded Waller in polishing English versification. 1654. The expedition under Venables and Penn sailed for America. 1664. The English, under the Duke of York, destroyed 130 of the Bordeaux fleet. 1672. The King of England shut up the Exchequer, and suspended payment. 1679. Thomas Hobbes, a celebrated English writer, died. He published his religious, political and moral principles in a complete system, which he called the Leviathan. It is said that few writings have had a more pernicious influence in spreading irreligion and infidelity than his, and yet that none of them were directly leveled against revealed religion. 1679. John Birkenhead died. Professor of moral philosophy at Oxford, a zealous royalist, and a popular courtier. 1680. Thomas Bartholin, a learned Danish physician, died. He lost his library by fire, but that his pursuits might not be interrupted he was made librarian to the university. His works are chiefly medical. 1717. Mr. Shippen, a member of the British Parliament, from Saltash, sent to the Tower for saying, the King's speech was fitted rather for the meridian of Germany than England. The King had little acquaintance with the English language. 1732. John Gay, a celebrated English poet, died, whose fables will ever be admired. His play of The Beggar's Opera was received with greater favor than had ever been known on any former occasion. 1746. Genoa surrendered to the Austrians, and was subjected to the most cruel contributions. 1777. Sir William Howe marched the British army from Philadelphia to White Marsh, for the purpose of attacking Washington, but marched back again without making the attack. 1783. Washington took leave of the officers of the American Army in New York. 1789. The city and suburbs of London, overspread with a dense fog, so that the stages traveling between the city and the surrounding villages were at 5 in the afternoon, obliged to be preceded by men with lanterns, a thing unprecedented in the memory of anyone living. 1792. William Fordyce, an eminent Scottish physician and philanthropist, died in London where he enjoyed an extraordinary reputation. 1798. Minister Pitt's Bill, establishing the 10% income tax, was introduced into the British Parliament. 1808. Charles Louis Furneaux died, a distinguished German writer on the fine arts. His father was a common laborer, and his early years were those of a talented youth struggling with poverty and other difficulties. After finishing an apprenticeship as an apothecary, he maintained himself by portrait painting and teaching drawing, and finally devoted his attention to the history of the fine arts and Italian literature. His productions are valuable. 1808. Madrid, being invested by Bonaparte, surrendered. The Spaniards were disarmed, and the town filled with the French army. The pavement had been taken up, the streets barricaded, the houses on the outskirts loopholed, but in a few days tranquility seemed completely re-established. The French soldiery observed excellent discipline. The shops were reopened, and the theaters frequented as usual. Such is in most cases the enthusiasm of a great city. 1808. The Inquisition abolished by Bonaparte this day. 1815. Christian Godfrey Gruner, a celebrated German physician, died. He was one of the most prolific writers on medical science, having written 50 large works and as many essays. 1819. Alabama admitted into the Union. 1823. Susan Huntington died at Boston, an intelligent American authoress, whose Life of Wisner has passed through several editions in Europe and America. 1826. Abraham Robertson, an eminent English astronomer, died. 1829. Abolition of the right of suttee, or immolation of Hindu widows on the funeral pile of their husbands. The British government interposed to prevent its continuance. 1829. Commencement of a revolution in Mexico. Bustamante, the vice president, issued a proclamation against the government of Guerrero, demanding the resignation of his extraordinary powers. 1830. William B. Giles died at his seat in Amelia County, Virginia. He was chiefly instrumental in getting up the celebrated resolutions of Virginia, 1798-99, and the no less celebrated Virginia Report. 1831. General Torrijos, with 54 of his partisans, taken and executed, at Malaga, in Spain. 1836. Richard Westall, an eminent English artist, died. He was the author of a great number of works and designs, and well known for his numerous beautiful illustrations of elegant literature. 1839. Samuel Butler, an English prelate, died. He was the author of various publications, and collected a library valued at £30,000. 1840. John Robinson, an English prelate, died, aged 66. He compiled a theological dictionary, and a work on the antiquities of Greece, ancient and modern history, and some others. 1845. Elisha Blackman, the last survivor of the Wyoming Massacre, died at his residence, in Hanover, Wyoming Valley, aged 89, and was buried with military honors. 1851. George Crabbe, an eminent English author, died near London, aged 73. 1852. An earthquake at Acapulco did great damage to the city, though without destroying any lives. Shocks were continued for a considerable time. 1853. Caliphate attacked by the Russians, who were repulsed with great slaughter.